You're watching Community Spotlight with Dr. Angie Eugene, where we showcase leaders making an impact in our community. Now here's your host, Dr. Angie Eugene.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. I am here with the Honorable Mayor of Fort Valley, Ms. Barbara Williams. And today, can you just tell our viewers who knows you as the mayor a little bit more about yourself and your background?
I'm a Middle Georgia native. I grew up and was reared in a small town close to here,
Okay.
Roberta, Georgia.
Yeah, I know it.
Graduated salutatorian of my class. Been in Fort Valley for a while. I came here to school in 1967. I'm dating myself, of course. In 1967, graduated in 71. Received a job as a band director down in South Georgia, down in Dooley County, for several years. Came back here after I got married while I was in school. Came back here to take on a band director's position at Fort Valley Middle School under the legendary Randolph Lindsay at the high school, and we did that until I retired. And after I retired, I served as an adjunct professor for about 10 years out at my alma mater, Fort Valley State University.
Yay.
So,
Okay.
so you could say I've been teaching about 40 years, I guess,
Oh, wow.
before I did this. And I served on the council for about 16 years before running for mayor 4 years ago.
Okay.
So I've got 20 years into this and 40 years into education.
Wonderful.
All right.
So for the people who don't know, what are some of the fabulous things you have done for the city within not just the past 4 years, but your duration of time living here?
Well, during my duration of time living here, as I said, I like small areas. I like small neighborhoods. I like neighborhoods where you can go to and ask where someone lives and they can tell you where it is. I go to larger cities, I visit larger cities, but I like small town living. And so we did a lot. We did cleanup days. I think we probably encouraged a lot of pride in the neighborhoods about keeping your area clean because, you know, it catches on with everybody. It's like if that neighbor cuts the grass down the street, then eventually you will see another person up doing the same thing up that street. So a lot of pride, I think, has been taken on in this small community. A lot of working together, a lot of unity. And that is, of course, is what we've been doing, is working to unify the community. We have a broad base of cultures here in our community, and the whole challenge is for everybody to work together as an important individual in our city, because everybody is somebody. And on my volunteer committees, as far as the activities that I attend, I try to get around, spread myself to pour myself out to everybody. And of course, for a long time, I majored in music out at the university, so I've been music minister at churches, and I attend the activities, been involved in community choirs and all those kind of things as organizational tools. I call that developing my spiritual side, and it balances with my political side. One of the joys of being the mayor in a community is getting to know everybody.
Yeah.
And it helps sometimes when you have different activities going on, like cookouts and different stuff like that, because I'm a part of everybody's family. And so I invite myself to everybody's family gatherings. That has been a joy. And then the other joy to me is we're a college town. So we have students that come from all over, from everywhere. In order to be someone that impact a little bit of the younger people's lives, is a joy to me. I have children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and so I enjoy being around the younger generation as well as the elderly. And so my thrust when I ran for mayor was to try to do things that would serve from the cradle to the grave.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I think we've been doing some of that. More of it is going to happen real soon because we have some development that's coming that's actually going to be good for the young as well as the old.
So tell us just a little about those projects, like whatever you can share.
Okay, well, number one, Fort Valley is a community that has about 4 times a year people coming into our community, great influx of people coming into our community for various things. The Peach Festival,
Yeah.
Fort Valley State University Homecoming, the CDEP program out at the university, and we have had conventions, gospel conventions that would come to our town. We just about outgrew that because there was not enough housing for them for that time. So we are taking what we call lemons and making lemonade out of it in two ways. The old hospital, Peach Regional Hospital, Medical Center Hospital, because you know the hospital moved to the other end of the county. And so we're taking the old Peach Regional Medical Center and we are going to develop a 3-star hotel and conference center there, which is on Highway 49, right at the front door coming into the city of Fort Valley. And adjacent to that is going to be a family entertainment center. We have a movie theater that we're looking into. We've courted a young man who develops cinemas all over the United States called Our Town Cinemas. The plan is to develop a movie cinema there with 4 screens, and it's quite different than your normal movie theater. After that, we have a housing development that's going to be a gated community that's going to we're expecting to break ground on that real soon, coming on the backside of the university off of Julius Simmons Boulevard in a little street called Laconia Circle. And the city has some properties back behind that. And this developer has committed to developing a sports entertainment center, which would be good for our university students as well as our young adults. And this sports entertainment center will house a bowling alley. We hadn't talked about how many lanes yet, a laser tag and a skating rink and other things that would accommodate from the high school age and maybe the teenage, middle school age, all the way up through young adults. And of course the elderly, like myself, would still enjoy bowling too. And of course we take advantage of the movie theater. We have that in the near future. And we also have a truck stop that's supposed to be coming to the bypass of Highway 49 that joins into 341 around to 96 that way, a truck stop there. So we've got great things coming into the city of Fort Valley. Now, I've been in office about 4 years, and it has taken all this time to just about attract and get down to the point of ready to actually almost dig ground here in Fort Valley. And of course, you know, and I can't take credit for this, but what's good for Peach County is also good for Fort Valley. We have a company that's coming in to the east of us called Pure Flavor. That's a company that's going to be doing hydroponically grown tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers.
Yes, I'm familiar with it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm expecting to hire about 200 people over a 5-year period. I think they bought about 75 acres just east of here in Peach County. So with that and our work development center that we're using to serve to attract industry, our pecan and peach growers entities that we have in the county, Bluebird, which is a major employer for us, and the university, which we are big on research out there, goat, lamb, sheep, cattle, all of those kinds of things. So we are a rural community, but we are a great community to live in. Our crime is low, very low. Just week when we had the threat of Hurricane Irma, we took in people from the state of Florida, from east of here, from Savannah, and all those places. We have a festival park out here that has 42 hookups for RVs, for motorhomes. And so we housed about 9 motorhomes out there of people who left because they had to evacuate from their home. And I think there's one gentleman that's still out there. There's one still out there. I don't think he wants to leave yet, but he said he'd be leaving tomorrow. And of course, we checked on them. I checked on them periodically, all during the day. I feel like they're family right now. And one gentleman said he loves this town. He said he had only been here about 11 minutes, and he had been visited, this was Friday, he had been visited by 2 officers and the mayor. And of course, when he said that, the mayor just kept visiting him. When our power went out the other day, I was tempted to go over and visit and knock on the door and see if I could get a cup of coffee, because I couldn't even make any coffee there. But anyway, our byline for this city is where caring is a way of life. And I think that was exhibited this weekend. We had 2 shelters here or that were full to capacity. The community made care packages. Local people prepared food. Some of the organization grilled, made great barbecue chicken plates and fed our neighbors and what have you. So when they go home, they will remember the city of Fort Valley.
Yes, yes. I've been out to Festival Park for the Back to School Bash, which is another event that you guys put on here.
Yes, yes.
So but I didn't know there was hookups there. So now I do.
We started that when we were doing the annual Hambone Jam activity. It was a state barbecue cook-off. And we didn't do that for the last couple of years, but we put the hookups out there because the people that would come in and stay overnight to prepare for the cook-off came in motorhomes. We have 42 hookups with electric and water out there. And we had a pumper truck that came in to do the sewage dump and everything for them. So it was a great service to them. And it was free. We waived the fees and everything for them. So they'll never forget Fort Valley.
No,
That's
not
for
at
sure.
all. They'll be telling their grandbabies about it.
Oh, yes, yes, yeah. And we felt good doing it. When the community can come together to serve humankind, all of the negative energy that's put into a community goes away. And so that was good.
So tell me about making Main Street a two-way street now, because I know it used to be one way for a long time because that's why I got my hair done.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
We had talked about that for a long time. I've been on the council for about 16 years, and of course, there was a streetscape that was done down there to beautify Main Street. And when they were doing the streetscape and beautifying Main Street, nobody thought about really the concept of coming into a town off the interstate and seeing a sign that says "Do not enter." All over main streets and smaller cities were kind of diminishing because larger cities had strip malls and that kind of thing outside of town. And so we thought about this for a long time. I brought this up when I was still on the council about that bad image. And of course, I owned a business down there at one point too while I was on the council. And I posed the question, do you know what that sign says, "Do not enter"? It says, "We don't want you in our town." And so we thought about that for a while. Nobody thinks about going around to bypass and then come back. By the time they go around and hit a main thoroughfare, they head it to the next town. And so we talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And so this time when I got elected, I thought one of the first things that I was going to do is take Main Street back to two-way. And of course, I didn't just do it on my own. The council bought into it, and we talked to a couple of the business owners too. And everybody's kind of gotten used to it now. For a long time, they would park the wrong way because they didn't want to go down to the end of the street and turn around and come back. And so now everybody's kind of on board with it right now, and it's like it's never been one way. And so that sign that says "Do not enter" is going away. And now we are inviting people to come into Fort Valley.
Good, yes. So tell me a little bit about your vision for Fort Valley. I know you talked about the upcoming projects, but what's your vision? What would you like your grandchildren to see?
Well, my grandchildren, all of my grandchildren have lived in larger cities, larger communities. And for some reason, they enjoy the smaller lifestyle a little bit better also. My children, I have one son in New York, and I have a daughter in Greenville, South Carolina, and they moved away because of job opportunities. And my older son lived in a larger community before he passed away, but it was always, I'm going to come back home to Fort Valley because it's a smaller city. It's peaceful here.
Yes.
It's a good way of life. It's a great city to live, work, and play. The cost of living is not so high. Everybody complains. They say taxes are high and utility bills are high and all these kinds of things. But when you compare it to other places, that's not necessarily the case. And so all of us, we are within a distance to Atlanta. If we want to go to Atlanta and spend a couple of nights.
Or even Fort Valley, even Macon.
Or even Macon, or anywhere.
I have Fort Valley on the brain.
Yeah, but when it comes to a peaceful place to sleep, Fort Valley is the place. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So this is a very gruesome job. It's a lot of hard work going into it.
Well, it's a lot of hard work, and it also takes a lot of hard work to energize people. Now, Fort Valley used to be a main thoroughfare back when the passenger train were coming through Fort Valley. And 341 used to be the main thoroughfare to go to Atlanta from down on the East Coast, all the way up to Atlanta, to Brunswick and what have you. Yeah, it was booming. It was booming. We had hotels here that were booming. And when the interstate went somewhere else, it's like it is in other smaller towns. It just seems like all the life was sucked out of Fort Valley. But yet we still had Fort Valley State University. At the time we had the Bibb Company out there, which was another manufacturing company. I worked out there while I was still in school. That was the second largest employer. And then the university itself, Bluebird, was the largest employer, and it drew people from 60 miles away into town. And so it just seems like the life was sucked out of Fort Valley. Nothing is here but the larger industry now. And a lot of times those companies were courted by other states and other towns. Thank goodness the Lucys called this home when they developed the Bluebird Corporation, even though it's been sold now. But thank goodness we still have Bluebird here. As long as we have that, if we do things to attract the tourism, it's going to be the tourism, it's going to be the agriculture, and economic development. Those three things that's going to help us to grow back to the economic base we used to be. And it seems like it's not an impossible task. It's just I never had sense enough to say I can't do.
Right. Right.
I never had sense enough to say that. And so if enough people would have that same kind of attitude, it's not if we can do it, it's when we do it.
Right.
Then we can bring it back to the greatness that it used to be. We are getting known all over the state, in state meetings when I go. As a matter of fact, I'm going to a state meeting tomorrow. I'm on the board of directors for the Georgia Municipal Association. We have a board of directors meeting this week. I'm going to the National League of Cities in Charlotte, North Carolina in November. We have been sent communication about recommending that we be honored as one of the best cities to live, work, and play. And each time that comes out, I send it in. That's Georgia Trend magazine that does that. And so each time it comes out, I keep putting things that we have done in Fort Valley to add it to it. Eventually, we're going to receive that designation for one of the best places to live, work, and play. That's done by Georgia Trend magazine in combination with the Georgia Municipal Association Conference. And the other thing that I have worked on, and I pitched this with my council, and most of them are doing the same thing. All of the training courses that's done, municipalities and people in political office, in order for us to serve people, we've got to know what the laws are, what the new trends are, what the recent innovations are in various cities. And the only way we can do that is to read about them, study about them, be taught about them, and travel to them. So I like to travel a lot. I do that on my own. I received the top level of distinction for doing 240 hours in training with the Georgia Municipal Association. When I reached that level of distinction, I think they added some more levels, so I'm still being trained. But in order for us to be able to impart to our citizens the things that we need to impart to them, learning is lifelong. Right. And so I still go to that. If I was not involved in the political system as an elected official, I still would be taking some training in my music career, in my theological career, those kinds of things. Learning is lifelong. You never stop learning until you die. So,
that's right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, anything else you would like to share with us? Would it be personal goals or anything that you would like to talk about?
Well, for our alumni that went to Fort Valley State University that's out there that might see this video, I want to encourage us during that time when we all come back to Fort Valley, we call it the Valley, when we all come back to the Valley, let's try to do something to keep our resources in the Valley. Okay. And that's one of the reasons for the hotel and conference center that we are doing. That's one of the reasons for the festival park, so we can have an outdoor activity. The evening before Fort Valley State University's homecoming, we're going to have an activity called Barbecue and Blues.
All right.
In the festival park, which is a big event. We expect to have a great band out there. We have renovated that festival park. We got the pavilion out there. We got the hookups out there for the motor homes. We got bleachers out there. We got a walk trail that goes all the way over to a historic area over at Spruce Street. And it's a lighted walk trail. We've got the basketball goes out there for the young adults to play in. We got the playground for the children to play in. We got grills under the pavilion, near the pavilion. We got picnic tables and that kind of thing. A couple of bathrooms inside the park and outside the park. We have spent a lot of time developing something that we could use to attract people when they come to town,
right,
and enjoy themselves while they're here.
yes. So for the people who says there's nothing to do in Fort Valley,
There's plenty to do in Fort Valley.
there's plenty to do. Now you know.
Exactly.
And there's more coming. Like,
More coming.
Yes,
That's
yes.
right. That's right.
That's awesome. Well, I
Yes.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And so, how can people get in touch with you? If they
Okay.
have any questions or concerns, or if they would like to volunteer, support.
Exactly.
Yes.
My direct line for my office is 478-825-8567. My email address is bwilliams@fortvalleyusa.com. That's bwilliams@fortvalleyusa.com. And of course, the office here at City Hall's number is not the mayor's office, but the everybody else's line is 478-825-8261.
Wonderful.
And you can reach us at any time. I'm a working mayor, so you will see me out riding the neighborhood a lot.
Yes.
But I have a secretary that would get the information and get it to me and call me on my cell. So we would be glad to have you come and visit us. We're glad to have you come and participate in the activities that we
Yes.
have. We expect to improve the housing soon, so we'd be glad to have you come and live here. Great place to live, work, and play.
Yes, yes. I love all of activities that goes on here. Part of my organization, Trinity Vision, we come out and we do a lot of activities in Fort Valley.
Great,
Yes,
great.
yes. I love Fort Valley State University and everything that they're doing there.
Great,
So
great.
I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.